Hello, all benders and non-benders, and welcome back to Avatar Generations. Today, we are going to be talking about the two 4-star pirates that were very recently added into Avatar Generations. Now, there's two reasons I want to talk about these guys. First of all, I'm still on vacation, so I need a quick video that I can pump out here, that I can already have in advance. But also, I feel like it's very easy to sleep on these pirates. And they're actually pretty good for 4 stars. They actually do some pretty wild stuff that we're going to talk about here. So, first we're going to talk about the Special Element Pirate. This guy is a Special Element character, just named Pirate. No biggie there. Very simple, very easy. So, here is what we have for this guy. The basic Anchored Strike deals amplified damage to one enemy, with a 25% chance to reduce the turn bar of the enemy by 25% if they are stunned, knocked down, or frozen. With this amplified damage, basically increasing the duration of elemental effects on the enemy by 1 turn. So you kind of have a lot of chances to do things. The chances are not very high, but when they do proc, it will be useful. They do have the the skill mastery on the basic, but we'll get to that in just a second here, because this is what really makes him shine. This advanced chop and drop caltrops deals impairing damage to all enemies with a 50% chance to inflict an ensnared state on each enemy for 1 turn. Now, what impairing damage does, it either decreases the speed, their focus, or their turn bar by 15%. So basically, assuming that you do win the accuracy check, this is going to slow down or prevent the combos of your enemies. And this ensnaring state here, which is kind of the biggie, take additional penetrating damage equal to 10% of the affected target's max HP when attacked, and then 75% chance to become knocked down. I believe that's after taking an attack. So basically, if the enemy has this ensnared state on them, they'll take more damage and they have a chance of becoming knocked down. That's kind of the gist of it. So actually, pretty good. And with a 50% chance, and then the effect duration going up if you get them to skill level 4, that can actually go a long way, especially when you consider that his optimal teammates, obviously Pirate Man and the Pirate Queen Tegaka, have some AoE attacks that will trigger all of the ensnared states on the field, doing extra damage. Kind of something to keep in mind there. And then taking a look at his passive, No Quarter. Decrease the resistance of enemies who are stunned, knocked down, or frozen by 50% for 1 turn, with this decrease, funny enough, ignoring resistance. Basically, if you're able to score like a rank 3 water element, or you're able to get that knockdown, they're going to have lower resistance. Not bad, very much a team support ability to throw in more debuffs. So that's just kind of something to keep in mind there. Looking at his skill masteries on his basic, Mastery level 2 inflicts a 50% chance to increase the duration of ensnared state on the enemy by 1 turn, so you can kind of have a chance at keeping that going longer. Mastery level 3, remove up to 2 defensive buffs from the enemy, make them easier to take down. And then if you are actually crazy enough to get to Mastery level 4 and do those arena wins, good luck. Deal additional penetrating damage to the enemy equal to 10% of their max HP if they are suffering from 2 or more elemental debuffs. Basically, if your pirate crew has been whipping out water and maybe some fire elements, this will make him deal more damage with his basic. Not bad, honestly. Not bad at all. But like I said, that level 4 is hard to get to. So you gotta really want it if you're gonna be getting up to that. Talking about kind of his best options. For this guy, you probably just want speed and accuracy. Just kind of keep it simple. Accuracy, of course, to make sure his caltrops are sticking. And implying that ensnared state. And then speed, just that he is attacking as much as possible. You're going to kind of see a theme with the pirates where you want them to be fast and apply debuffs early and often. Looking at his possible supports, of course, anything that works with special elements like the Vulture and the Owl Wolf. If you were able to get a Forgetful Wolf Spirit or any kind of other mind-based support, that would work as well. Not a whole lot of options for him, so don't worry about being too picky, just kind of use what you've got. Now, as far as the relics go, he does have a few options. We do have some new relics here. We have, of course, the White Dragon Seed that decreases the damage you take when you get under a certain point. Of course, we also have the memorial statues from the new area that was just added. So this can be kind of interesting because it can increase your damage. Kind of an interesting little thing there. Just something to kind of keep in mind if you are worried about him dealing damage. This could help with that. This could certainly help with that. Of course, we also have probably the Airbender Flute to get that accuracy increase every turn. Might be your best option, honestly, if I'm remembering correctly. This one more so just focuses on defense, really not needed for him. That's really not going to do you any good as well. Going down a little bit here, we did just have the release of the Cult of Freedom from Pirate Man. Reminder that this permanently decreases your advanced skill cooldown by 1. If you have some extra copies of this, absolutely usable, but you might even see here, I kind of have it on the other pirate, which we're going to talk about in just a second. But basically, kind of use what you've got, kind of play around with it. He's one that you can certainly play around with. And also, if you have Kiwak, and you prefer to use her because she is a very good character, this is probably the guy you're going to sub out for Kiwak and use her in the pirate team. But if you don't have Kiwak and you did get this special element pirate, he can absolutely serve you very well in a pirate team. Alright, and next we're going to talk about the second 4-star pirate made available. The first one was available in the Tegaka banner. This one was available as an event reward. So, Fire Nation pirate guy, Firebender pirate guy. Let's talk about him and see what he does. First of all, his basic. Deals raid damage to one enemy based on the caster's speed. So it scales on speed. Generate 10 focus if this attack lands as a critical hit. If we take a look at his raid damage here, he gains a random offensive buff for 1 turn if the enemy has an offensive buff. If they have something making them stronger, he will make himself stronger. Very simple, very easy there. Taking a look at his advanced Rallying Cry. He gains increased crit chance for 2 turns and skill nullifier. Just a reminder that skill nullifier basically makes you dodge the next attack that comes your way. And then grants increased speed to all allies for 2 turns. He will also enter a distracting stance for 2 turns. I am totally blanking on what that does, but I will put an image on the screen here of what distracting stance will accomplish for you. And then looking at his passive, permanently increases his speed by 15% if you have 2 or more buffs at the start of your turn. This can happen up to 2 times. And then reduces skill cooldowns on himself by 1 whenever the caster is used as a linker or ender in a combo attack. So if you notice here, this skill has a really, really high cooldown. Because it is extremely useful, the increased speed to your whole team cannot be understated, and skill nullifier is never a bad thing, so it's got a long cooldown. This helps mitigate that. This one basically, if an ally starts a combo and uses the Firebender Pirate, his cooldown goes down by 1. Very important to keep in mind there because you kind of want to use that as much as possible. And he can also hit pretty hard just in general with his combo. Looking at mastery levels here, they are on his passive. First of all, we have permanently increased crit chance by 10% whenever the caster is used as a linker or ender in a combo attack. This can happen up to 2 times. This pairs very well with his basic because it means you're getting more crits and getting more focus. So you can either use more combos or get to your ultimate much, much faster, whichever one you prefer. Taking a look at the level 3, we do have increasing the turn bar and focus of the caster's team by 10% whenever entering distracting stance. So basically, whenever that happens, the whole team is going to get turn bar and focus. Very important to keep in mind there, because that means they're basically going to be even faster and be able to do even more combos. And then if you do get him to mastery level 4, not quite as difficult for him because he does actually hit like a truck, but still difficult. But if you do get there, you will inflict a fire debuff on all enemies for 2 turns when the caster is part of a team combo. Basically, he attacks, he inflicts a fire element on everybody, as opposed to just the one person. Really playing into how pirates really love to throw around debuffs and negative states and the like, kind of joining in with that vibe. So, as I kind of alluded to, he can actually do some good stuff. Being based on speed is very good because you can build speed and attack kind of at the same time, as only the feather actually has a true speed main stat. Everything else you would just put into attack like normal. Really easy to build this guy to do some damage. Speaking of building him, we're going to take a look at his arts here. I have him built for primarily speed. Just, you want this man to be just boom, 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 fast, fast, fast. Pretty universally. I personally don't think the sixth set of speed is very useful, given that it is just a 5% buff, and then you only get an extra effect when you die. Kind of something to keep in mind. So I stopped at a 4 set, and then for that last set, you can kind of go for a few things. You could go for crit chance if you wanted more crits. You kind of go for what I've done and given him some immunity just in case. Very much up to you. But the primary thing you want is speed. Lots and lots of speed. Get this guy nice and zippy. Support's kind of the same situation as the prior. He's got a few more options, being an offensive Firebender. The Komodo Rhino is, of course, a standout option for what to equip to him. But just kind of go for whatever you need to go for. The Owl Wolf is also an offense. I believe I misspoke earlier and called it a special element. That's the Vulture. But this is also good just as stats. Work with what you got. Just work with what you got. You're probably not going to use the pirates in anything like Arena anyway, so you can afford to experiment a little bit. And then taking a look at his relics, I do personally think his best relic by far is Call to Freedom, because it will first of all knock down that very, very high cooldown a little bit, knocking it down from 6 to 5, and then increasing his turn bar whenever he's part of a combo for the first few turns, really kind of playing into what his kit does offer. You do have a few other options here. Sadly, Paper Dragon does not work for him, as you actually have to be a Fire Nation citizen pretty much. So sadly, can't really get away with that. You do have, I don't think the Whale-Tooth Blade works because, well, maybe it still works. I haven't actually tested this one when you don't actually do damage with your advance, so I'm not sure on that one. But honestly, Call of Freedom is pretty universally going to be your best bet to make sure he can use his advance as much as possible. So that is what we have as far as the pirates. Now, why am I bothering making this video about them? Because I think they have a lot of potential. This guy especially can do some damage. Kiwak is already an excellent character, and both the Pirate Queen Tegaka and good old Pirate Man here got a noteworthy buff in the 1.10 update. And I really don't think they should be slept on. I really think they might actually have some serious use. These two especially working together is just bread and butter. But the Firebending Pirate works exceptionally well with them. And I am very much planning on doing some showcases of their potential power in the future. But for now, we're going to leave it here, having talked about them. They're not going to, change any hearts and minds as far as the meta goes. Unless something crazy does happen, which, hey, it could. But they are very solid 4-star characters, especially considering that they are quite easy to get, or I should say, at least in the Firebending Pirate's case, he was easy to get when he rolled around. So yeah, that is all we have for today. Let me know if you've used the pirate characters at all down below. Once again, We appreciate any subscription you'd be willing to offer. We are almost to that 1,000 point. We are so close. So thank y'all so much for getting us there. And we shall see you next time. Have a good one.